Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick, you're watching the CRYPTUS channel, and in today's video we're going to discuss one of the most important topics in the crypto space, namely how to find airdrops, or some people call them retrodrops, where to look for them, where to find these fresh new projects that are going to give us some income. And the best thing about this, that it's one of the most important skills you can ever acquire in crypto space, because no matter if it's bull market or bear market, retrodrops or airdrops are going to let you earn somewhere over $1,000 each month, at least if you're doing it without a team, if you're doing it by yourself. So in today's video, we're going to look at how to search for them, the projects, in a really simple manner. Now, in order to set up the process for you up and running without relying on any YouTube videos about retrodrops or maybe even guides on the internet, there are 4 simple steps you need to do in order to set up the work for yourself and be basically self-sufficient. So without further ado, let's start with finding the best airdrops out there in the crypto space. Now, to start off, if you want to be better than 99% of the people actually doing crypto in terms of finding retrodrops or activities in different projects, doesn't matter if it's a GameFi project, a DeFi project, anything, you should not use websites like coinmarketcall.com, because it's a website, for example, which shows the most recent activities that are about to happen in crypto space, like here, for example, NFT public sale for in the sandbox projects and stuff. But this is things that people actually see openly, widely. So basically anybody who's lazy can come up here, oh yo, yeah, here's an NFT public sale for sandbox. But that's not what you're going to do, because either your income is going to be low from a certain activity because everyone's actually doing these, or basically the chances of you getting into activity that does pay well are quite low. So you could use these websites, but that's just not even the beginner level, that's the senior beginner level. So we need to do some amount of pre-work in order to find the best projects basically in the beginning, because it's not about who's got the most money in crypto, it's about who is early in the project, because that's when they pay the best. As an example, we were setting up nodes for the AppTus project. For AppTus, they paid us about $50,000 for, I don't know, like 20 nodes, because we were there early. Uniswap and DYDX were airdropping its early users about $5,000 if you are selling the token on the highs. And basically this is stuff we want to focus on, because these $20 that can come up here as an airdrop don't really interest us. We want the big checks, like something $300 per account and higher in terms of retrodrops. And now I'm going to show you where you can find these. So the first step was actually not to focus on BS stuff like this, because this won't bring you further, and I think like $100 a month is not something you want to do. So we come over to step 2, and that's Twitter, because if you're seeing different projects always start up on Twitter. So all their media activity, at least public, if you're not an insider, if you want to be first in the project and find out first about the project, you need to have Twitter. I think that's obvious. And basically we have an instrument called TweetDeck that lets us work with Twitter more conveniently. For example, how I use TweetDeck is set up different columns and basically add different projects and VC funds in crypto that have large allocations of money and pick specific projects they trust, and basically follow them to see who they partnered with, where did they invest the money, because these are the projects, the top tier projects I want to look after, and basically start working with them in order to get the airdrops they're going to give out later on. So here's how my Twitter or my TweetDeck looks. So basically I have a lot of different columns, activities, so anything that different people posted or liked or even shared out there on Twitter that the people I follow, so it might be interesting for me, maybe. There are different projects or VC funds and projects and stuff like that in different tiers. So I've got tier 1+, this is the best stuff there can actually be. For example, like A16Z, that's who I follow. I'll show you who I follow in a minute. Tier 1 projects, tier 2 projects, and all the way up to tier 5 for projects and VC funds that I rarely look into, but if I have a lot of spare time, I can also look at some basically shitcoins they're posting up there. Maybe I want to gamble on them. But the topic of the video is not to gamble. The topic of the video is to find the best projects where we can get airdrops. So basically, if you look here in your TweetDeck, look in the spaces here, you see a lot of different news. So what's happening out there in crypto? Like, for example, Benji Bananas is starting some sort of event. Not sure if you should participate in this, but this is something I want to just show you. So because I'm subscribed to Animoca Brands, I come up to new projects that I maybe want to look into. The thing you want to look out here for is basically anything with testnets, or anything with, yo, we have tweet like we've just deployed in the mainnet, or we just deployed on the testnet. You can come over and check our functionality, especially on DeFi protocols. You want to do this because for early usage of these DeFi protocols, you're eligible most of the time for airdrops as a early project supporter. So the thing is, what you want to get here in TweetDeck is really convenient and a really good amount of news from top tier projects out there in crypto. So you basically just don't waste your time on stuff that's not really interesting. And just a rule of thumb, like about 50 to 100 tweets to read, there is one interesting project that you might follow and basically go over, use its activities, or just use the projects in hopes of a new Retrodrop. So it's not that simple or easy. Like for example, I've just showed you in the previous website CoinMarketCap, because here actually all the events are already live, but they are not all listed there. So if you don't want to miss out the best projects and be the first one in them before they even get to CoinMarketCap, where everybody can use them, you should use TweetDeck and Twitter and follow the proper projects. Now, which projects and which VC funds you should follow? I can explain this because this is actually the most important parts of your pre-work before you can actually start searching for Retrodrops. So the way TweetDeck works is, and I recommend using it from the PC because it's more convenient, is basically going over here to add column and then picking between lists. So basically list is something like this: tier 1 funds, tier 1 plus funds, tier 2 plus funds, and stuff like that. So basically all the Twitter accounts you want to add in one list, so they're grouped together, or it's going to be activity. So the same VC funds that you obviously already subscribed to, you can have another activity button. So every time they, like, for example, don't share a post, but they like a post, you also see it, and that way you can just process more information. More information is going to be in your feeds, maybe mainly the one information or the information that's not that obvious, which they, for example, won't share for the first time. So you click this, and then you can, when you're creating your column, you can actually go like this. So this is basically the list of my tier 1 funds. So it's Multicoin Capital, it's Polychain Capital, Digital Currency Group. There, for example, in CRYPTUS, since already a long time, I think like 2011. So these are really big guys. You want to look out for them. Coinbase, Paradigm, A60Z, at Sequoia Capital. So these are the top 7, basically the best funds I always want to look out after, because they're sharing a lot of great projects. Like for example, tier 1 of different funds. Let me also just show you this list. Is Klein Blue Capital, Shima Capital, Z Prime Capital, Alameda Research was there some time ago, but a couple of days ago these basically their scam happened, so I want to remove them from the list for now on, and basically so on. American Capital, Animoca brands are also really good. Pantera Capital, lots of people like this. So let me just click done. So basically you need to create your own columns in order to basically get out the news. And for example, if a project then says, yo, we're having a testnet launch, you can go over to this project, do something in their basically product, like for example a DEX swap, so you're eligible for their further airdrop, or you make a vote or a governance proposal, or you just leave a vote on a governance proposal and basically wait until you get the airdrops, because we're coming over to this part in a second. But you need to do again some pre-work in order to be basically the first in different new projects, and not like one of the millions of people who are watching out their projects on sites like coinmarketcap.com, where it's already, but you don't actually earn anything there. So now the question is on which Twitter accounts to pick and add to various columns or basically lists, because you might have different top tier funds in your opinion, and you want to maybe follow different projects in order to see what other projects they're sharing. So what I tend to do is going over to Messari.io, and that's a paid basically version. I also have a free version for you down below. Not down below, I will talk about it in a minute, but basically what you can do here is going to recent fundraising rounds and fundraising companies, and here you can see which project actually got invested in and by which funds. So here we can see, for example, Heroic Story seed round. That's really early in. That's what we want to be looking for, because that's something where the most money is actually made, not in over 2 or 3 days, but actually 2, 3, maybe sometimes 6 months. You're good. And if you have a ton of these projects, then you're really set up well, because basically every now and then they're going to give out airdrops or maybe different public sales of their NFTs or token, which you can always sell in them, or the most of the time, if you pick the proper projects, more expensive than you've bought them. And here you can see a list of investors. So for example, Upfront Ventures, Mullican Capital, that's really good. Polygon is really great, basically Layer 2, and some other guys. So you can open it here, look at who they invested in, and basically if you like the funds, if you like the result of where they invested in before, then you can just add this fund's Twitter or VC funds Twitter into your TweetDeck. Different stuff you can do also to come up with more investors or ideas who you can follow on Twitter is going to Messari, to the dot or to the tab of investors. And here you have like 8,461 different records of different VC funds, and you can always basically just scroll up to the right and look who they have invested in before. So here in portfolio companies, I know like D1 Ventures, I think it's like a tier 3 or 4 VC fund. You can open this portfolio here, Just wait for it to load, and basically you see the projects where they already before invested in. And on the performance of these projects, like for example a Remark, I'll just call it like that, MC Dex or Try, you can make yourself a picture of whether the VC fund is good most of the time or not. If it has like a lot of projects like Polkadot, like Polygon in its portfolio at the beginner stage, then this is definitely a fund you want to add to tier 2, tier 1 or tier 1 plus. This is actually paid. This is, I know, like $30 a month, but if you had to make one crypto purchase, I would definitely use Messari, because there's so much information about fundraising and different VC funds and different angel investors out there. It's just irreplaceable. But if you're just early on in crypto, you're just starting, you don't want to spend like $30 on stuff like this, you can use crypto fundraising. Here is at crypto-fundraising.info, and basically that's the same stuff you can find on Messari, but this stuff is free. And here you can also go always to investors and look for different companies and their portfolio, and maybe you want to then subscribe to their Twitter accounts. So here I have Coinbase Ventures and Mocha Brands, A16Z Crypto, and so on and so on. So you can just click on them, go into their portfolio, and see where they invested in before. The difference is here the projects update much longer, so basically the info on Messari is much fresher. There are much more investors than in crypto-fundraising.info, but still these are both sites you can actually use for creating the database of people you want to follow in order to then see the projects that they're sharing or liking. So this was actually already step number 3, basically finding the investors and the Twitter accounts you want to follow in order to get their information as fast as you can. I've only showed you how to get VC Twitter accounts basically in your Twitter, because that's the most important thing. But of course, if you like some influencers, you can also subscribe to them, make a different column for influencers, or if you want to just have different people, open-minded, smart people out in crypto who you just see on Twitter Spaces, you can just also subscribe to them. That's no problem. I'm just showing you how I'm doing and how I'm sorting basically this stuff. Now we're coming to the last step, step number 4, actually searching, and then step number 5 will be doing these activities. Basically, in terms of searching, I think that's just the easiest thing you can ever do. You just scroll over your Twitter. That's how simple it is. TweetDeck, and here, for example, you see OKX is giving away 100 NFTs for 100 random people on their Twitter Spaces. So if you have a lot of free time, you can do that. I won't be doing this. I would search for some different new announcements where the chances of earning are much higher, where you earn there where nothing is promised. That's a really important thing. That's why Retrodrops are actually called Retrodrops. So you can separate like this. Airdrops are for like silly kids who just wanna, $10 guaranteed. That's airdrops. Retrodrops is something where nothing is being promised. Basically, you see a new protocol, you see a new game, you try it out, and in the future you're receiving an airdrop just because basically you were early on in this protocol where nothing was promised, and you get your rewards. That's what happened to CRYPTUS, that's what happened to DYDX, to Uniswap. None of the big airdrop sums or income was ever promised upfront. So just as an example how easy it is, here I was scrolling around off camera for like 30 seconds. YGGC is hosting an airdrop you want to maybe participate in, or for example Polygon launched something for creators. So basically, if you're doing some NFT artworks, you can try to participate there and maybe win some contest prizes. And basically, this is all the simple stuff, because really good projects, they come up like maybe once a day, maybe even 2 or 3 times a week. This maybe doesn't look too simple, but this is the best way you can find airdrops and different activities in crypto, and also token sales, also like NFT drops when they're just first coming out. Twitter, basically TweetDeck, is the best things you should actually use. Right before we come to the end, I just want to show you a little life hack I also tend to doing. It's basically going to every single different tab and just clicking here in TweetDeck, tweet content, and then when in the column that says matching, you just want to type in Discord, because really often basically the projects share their Discord once it's launching here in Twitter, and basically the first few 100 people who join it get the OG role, and the OG role in crypto is really just great to have, because you're always getting the whitelist, you're always getting to mint the NFTs first. So basically in all activities the project launches, you have the chance to be the first, and that's actually where the most money can be made, because for example in Vulcan we had the opportunity to buy one Vulcan animal, I don't know, like one loot box basically for 1 Solana, and then it could easily, even the worst Vulcan animal you could have gotten will easily have sold for 15 Solana, the best one for 100 or 150 Solana right at the game launch. Because so this is why you want to look out for Discord. Like for example, of course there will be stuff like rubbish, like here Discord hangout where you can talk to a project, but there will be also stuff like, for example, we're giving away 5 ninja passes. Maybe the ninja passes are in the form of NFT, which you can later on sell. you want to look out for different Discord activities. Once you've found projects that are interesting to you, you go over to the website, you subscribe to their Discord, because Discord is basically used for further announcements. Once your project is interesting for you, you can see what it's up to and take part in the activities that it launches. So basically Twitter is the space for finding new project, and Discord is then the space for communicating and keeping intact with the projects that you've already previously found. So you need to use both Twitter and Discord. We won't be going too deep into Discord in this video, but yeah, that's actually all in the video, all on the topic of how to find the new best airdrops, retrodrops, and actually smart ideas for investing really fast before 99.9, maybe 9% of all the other crypto users actually find them. So you're almost as close as an insider if you're using Twitter in a smart way. You're not an insider, of course, but you're up ahead of the most cryptocurrency or crypto users out there. So yeah, guys, that's actually it for the video today. If you found it helpful, please write so in the comments, and also mention in the comments, please, what next new topic, maybe in conjunction to this one or some different topic, you want me to discuss. Like, for example, the analytics of projects. How can you see, like, literally in 5 or 10 or 15 minutes if a project is worth investing your money and time into it, or maybe not. I mean, like projects in their early beginning stage, because maybe this sort of analytics will be interesting to you. Or maybe you've got some other different topics. Nevertheless, I'll be also sharing quite frequently on this channel new airdrop and retrodrop ideas, like specifically for projects, which you can participate in. So yeah, just subscribe, keep in touch, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see each other in the next videos. Bye bye.